What is up, obscure mic people? Play in the air accordion. Hi, I'm Bark. Back at you. $79. I know, quick transition. But today we're looking at what's in the thumbnail and what you already knew about, which is the UR22MK. So there's no name brand on this, but on Amazon, it's Micfuns MX02. The Micfuns MX02 audio interface. Now, there's a reason I'm checking this out, and that is because if you look on the box there, it says that it's 32-bit, 384 kilohertz, but 32-bit, which would mean, no clipping for $79 with 2 XLR combo jacks and a whole lot more. Tell them what they've won for $79. There's only like 14 of these left in stock. So I figured I got this last night. I'm going to put the video out today. There's going to be 2 videos today. So stay tuned for that. There's another audio interface one coming, and it's for the people who check out my community posts on YouTube, like, little text messagey type stuff. But it's a $20 little mixer that I told everybody about and was like, I'm going to get this and I'm going to review it ASAP. That way we know whether it's worth $20 or not. $20. But first, I'm doing this UR22MK because 32-bit float, maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. That's really, the thing. I want to talk real quick though. The Mayono PS22. I want to clarify some things. Like, it's not a bad interface. Like, it drives the SM7B without driving the gain to the super noisy levels, but it starts to get noisy driving the SM7D, B, or B, whatever. And the main point I was trying to make on that video is it's $120, and there's a litany of really good interfaces that don't generate any noise hardly with the SM7B, like the Arturia Mini Fuse and the Elgato XLR, whatever that thing is. There's a bunch. There's a lot at 120, in that $100 to 120 range that are really, really good. And that Mayono had more features and I/O than most of those. But when it comes down to the basics, like, it's sound. Headphones sound good, mics sound good, then we're good. And that wasn't completely the case with that one. So just wanted to clarify, because there have been some comments on there like, I don't know why you didn't like it. And like, well, there's one big reason, and it's sound. Let's go on to some B-roll, check this interface out, hook it up, see what we get. UR22MK or Micfuns, MX02 or something like that. I don't know. Obviously, this is not an OEM kind of deal. This is made somewhere, different names slapped on the listings. But at the end of the day, I guess it's the UR22MK from no company at all. Let's open this up. Flappy. Crappy. Dappy. So the interface was in this cellophane, but I was playing around with it. You get, that's what she said. You get a USB A to C cable, pretty lengthy. Looks like at least 6 foot, maybe longer. I usually don't unwrap them because I have so many cables. First things first, the heft here is real good. Like, it's weighty and it feels nice. Documentation, just a little quick 2-page pamphlet with some basics on it, nothing crazy. Box can go away. Interface can come out to play. Again, really hefty, feels good, all metal. I mean, it's nice. No build quality concerns. We've got 2 XLR combo jacks with peak and signal lights. We've got some gain knobs, really quite loose on the first one. The second one's a lot tighter. My copy, first gain knob, super loose, almost to a concerning level. Probably should be, but I don't know. I've never ripped one of these off, no matter how loose or tight they are. That's what she said. 48 volts phantom power switch, which runs 48 to both combo jacks. We've got a mic or mic and PC, so you can either just monitor or you can monitor and hear sounds out of your PC. We've got a stereo pan switch, so you enable that and you're going to get left and right stereo setup there. You uncheck that, and you're going to get mono on both channels. A little bit of roughness here on the metal. That could cut a man open. We got a high Z button for the line. So if you're running quarter jacks into there, you can enable your high Z there. We got a LED readout, which does work. A headphone knob, which is pretty loose as well. And a headphone jack and an output dial, which feels real good, actually. That one's not loose in the slightest. Bottom, you just got some screws. And then the back, you've got USB Type-C. Again, you get the 32-bit 384 kilohertz wording there. We've got some stereo outs, some balanced outs, and another input for another mic, but we don't have a gain dial for it, so that's curious. Very curious. We'll probably figure out how that works here soon. I like that I can set it like this and, just walk away. Let's get it wired up, see if it's actually 32-bit, see what it sounds like with the SM7DB in bypass mode, which means we're going to test the preamp of it. Let's do it. Okay, so I have the SM7DB wired into the Micfuns, or whatever we want to call this officially. There's your readout levels there. If you can't tell, it's pushing the SM7B. We're going to call it the B because I got it in bypass mode. It's pushing it, and it's pushing it at max volume to a -12 peak. So we're hitting right at -12, which is totally usable. We can totally bump this in post, but it's not a super high level. It could go a little higher because when I get a little bit quiet, I'm peaking out at about -18 dB. So you're going to have to amp this up in post a little bit. But something I've got to hand this thing right off the rip is it's got a quiet preamp. It is not making a ton of noise, not a hissy pre, at least in my playback on my monitors after doing a quick test with this thing jacked all the way up. That's a quiet preamp, and that is exciting. It's not a super powerful preamp, but it'll do. It'll push every single microphone not named the SM7B pretty quietly. It'll push the SM7B to levels to where you will want to boost in post, but that's not a big deal. I mean, it's working. Headphone amp. It sounds okay. It doesn't sound as good as the AG06 Mark II, which is what I opened this video up from Yamaha. The headphone amp, not as good as that. Now it is driving my Sennheiser HD 439s, maybe. I don't remember, 438 something. Who knows? But it's fine. There's no latency issues. It's a little thinnish, but it's mostly fine. So that is encouraging. SM7B getting driven by this quietly, but the headphone amp is noisy. So when I turn the amp all the way up, plenty of hiss here, but not in the recording. Now it's not distracting. It's just if I'm quiet, a little bit of ocean sound, a little bit of ambience, nothing major. It's good. It's fine. Not a big deal at all. I am encouraged. Now I'm going to go into Audacity, which supports 32-bit float, and I am going to turn on the preamp here so we can clip this thing and then see if we can bring it down and see if it works out better. Not a lot of other features here, so there's not a lot to test. I do want to plug a mic into that mic jack in the rear just to see what gain knob controls it. I assume the second gain knob will control that third mic input, but technically, 3-man podcast here potentially, $79, 32-bit float on 2 channels maybe? I don't know. But so far, this is not bad for $80. I'm always looking for the best 2 XLR, preferably combo jack interface at or under $100. And if this is truly 32-bit float, we have a contender with no freaking brand name on it, except Micfuns bought it and put it on Amazon. A little bit mind-blowing. Let's do the Audacity tests. All right, so I am recording in Audacity with the Rode NT1. It was kind of hard to get the SM7B to clip, but I am going to go ahead and show you what it sounds like when I do this. And then go ahead and show you what it sounds like when I do this. The 32-bit float, I believe it works. I don't know how well it worked. I think it worked pretty well. Like, it did take down the distortion levels there. And that's kind of impressive. So, Micfuns, how about it? Let's, wow. Let me switch back over. All right, so now I've got the SM7DB preamp enabled. And, yeah, the gain's only up to about, 10 o'clock or so. Everything about this works pretty good for $79, man. I am quite shocked. Let's get a mic plugged into this back here. All right, I've got a digital reference DVR 200, I think is what it is. Is that right? DRV 200. We're going to plug this in to the back of the unit. Oh, in the unit. So the mic jack in the back does work, but it's controlled with input 1. This works with this one, and yep. I mean, I guess if you wanted to use this as a vocal mic and then you had a 48, then a condenser, I don't know. It's always weird to me when you got a third mic option, but one gain knob controls multiple inputs. A little bit strange. Whatever. At least it's there. It works. It's usable. That's all I got. DRV 200 is going to exit this video. But hey, this interface, 32-bit float, 2 combo jacks, stereo or mono, 48 volts, some I/O on the back. That's good enough. On the BB-SAR, I'm going to have to say that this is a very strong buy. $79, quiet preamp. Cheapness is the name of the game here. And $80 for 32-bit float and everything else that it does and does pretty well. The weakest point here is the headphone jack. It's just not very strong, but it works. It does it. Can't always get what you want. It's like it's so close to really good. Like if the preamp was a little stronger and the headphone amp was a lot better, it'd be a 10. There'd be no other choice to just give it a 10. But, preamp is not the most powerful, but that's really only going to come into play with this. And the headphone jack is definitely the weakest part, but it's not a deal breaker because it's latency free. A little thinnish compared to others, but it works, and there's not a reverb or echo crap going on. Link in the description. If you've been looking for a 32-bit float device or something that's got 2 combo jacks at $80 or less, this is the one. I think. That's crazy. Obscure Mics. Peace out.